elements of art, value, and our studio habits of the mind, observe, and understanding the art world. The definition of value is the lightness or darkness of a color. That can apply a couple of different ways. You can go from light to dark with different types of media, like in this example, or different styles of creating the value. And it also applies to the actual lightness and darkness of colors, like the blue, yellow, and red shown here. But for this video, we're going to focus on the use of value just with dark to light in charcoal or graphite or whatever media the artist chooses to use. The first artist and work we're going to look at is Charles Wilbert White Jr. He was born in 1918 and he died in 1979. He's an African-American artist and extremely talented. He made prints. This is a type of print called a lithograph. And he also worked in media like, charcoal and graphite and pencil. As you can see, he uses a wide range from, dark darks in the shadows to the white of the paper. His drawings are extremely expressive, and his subject matter was mostly about the African American experience, and I find his images extremely powerful. This one is also a great example of texture, with the wood that's on the door or the window or whatever it is that surround those two figures, and also the texture on the clothing of those two people. Our next artist you've seen her work before. Her name is Kathy Colwitz, and she was born in 1867 in Königsberg, Prussia, which is now a part of Russia, but because Prussia kind of was Germany, she was a German, so that's a little confusing. And she died in 1945 in Germany. But her drawings are also extremely powerful and expressive. Part of the reason why they are so powerful and expressive is that she lost her only son in World War I. And that was extremely painful to her. She loved her son very much. She didn't want him to go to war because she was afraid he would be hurt or killed, and it turned out that he was killed in action. But children and grief were major subjects for her because she was grieving for her son so badly. But her drawings are also like this one of the child with the mother's hands are very, very expressive and even touching. So the next one is very similar, but it's more of a finished drawing. The light that's on the child clearly makes the child and the focus of this piece of work, but we also get a clear image of what the mother looks like as well. Our next artist is Carrie James Marshall. He was born in 1955 in Birmingham, Alabama. He is still working today. He is a contemporary artist, and as you can see, he works in color as well as in black and white with different values. This is a cover of a program for the Metropolitan Opera. The show is called Porgy and Bess. It's a very, very famous opera about African Americans. This piece by far is my favorite that I found example of Marshall's work. The detail that he achieved and the textures, with the black and white media, I could stare at it all day long. It is my favorite. Our last artist is a person from Dayton. Well, he was also born in Birmingham, Alabama, and lived in Cincinnati for a while and went to art school there, and then he's moved to Dayton. This one is called Wall of Queens, and it was hanging in Cincinnati. I'm not sure if it still is, but it's a bunch of different scratch boards, and the scratch board is covered with black ink, and it has white paper underneath, and you scratch away the black parts to reveal some of the white to create the different values. And there are like 280 of those scratch boards in this entire piece. It's like a humongous mural. Our last piece is a tribute to a group from Ohio. I don't know if they're from Dayton, but they're from Ohio, called the Ohio Players, and they were part of the funk genre of music that came out of the 60s and 70s. And funk got famous because of a recording company here in Dayton. So the range of values artistically that James Pate gets out of the graphite that he drew this with is just incredible. And the main focus of this piece is the hand that's on the keyboard, and we can tell because that's the brightest part of the whole piece, and the rest kind of gets darker and darker as it goes back, but you can clearly see all the details, and that comes from a lot of experience and practice that James Pate has had over the course of his artistic career so far. I hope you enjoyed looking at these pieces, and I hope they have inspired you, and I'll talk to you later, artists. Bye-bye.